7 roller coasters that were forcibly shut down due to unfortunate incidents. Mantis. While it's not exactly a huge park, Cedar Point is renowned because of its picturesque location on Lake Erie and also because it is the second oldest amusement park in the US. For quite a few years, one of the top rides in the park used to be Mantis, which was a stand-up roller coaster with several upside downs that was added back in 1996. At that time, it was the steepest, tallest, and fastest ride of its kind. However, the ride closed after about 20 years of running, claiming several reasons, but one of primacy were complaints of pain and backaches caused by the ride. To avoid any lawsuits, this roller coaster was redone so that it's now a dangling coaster. But it's nowhere close to the thrill it used to be. Thunderbolt. Located in Dreamworld Amusement Park, the Thunderbolt, which is in Queensland, Australia, was just one of the many amazing attractions at this park. The park, which has since been open for over 35 years, is massive and is separated into different themes. Thunderbolt was once one of the oldest and the very first roller coasters in Australia to ever feature vertical loops. Since the ride was so famous, despite being a bit rickety and old, owners spent nearly $500,000 trying to make the ride a bit more comfortable with new coasters. However, this didn't work, and maintenance issues still raised several concerns. So the ride was torn down back in 2004 to make room for many more modern attractions that wouldn't cause as much concern for safety. Jetstar. Hurricane Sandy was the most intense of all 2012 and the second most expensive of any in US history. By the time the storm had reached New Jersey, it had taken even more nostalgia than we were ever prepared for. The storm had swamped the Casino Pier, which housed the Jetstar, a ride that had been around for several decades and been one of the best attractions of Jersey's shores. By some miracle, when the storm had passed, and all of Casino Pier was underwater, the Jetstar remained somewhat intact, standing in the water like the sad remains of a flooded world. Special removal services had been hired to extract the ride, which was unfortunately entirely unsalvageable after this storm. The Gatlinburg Mountain Coaster. Gatlinburg is that town that everyone goes to visit, and it's kind of hard to explain why exactly it's such a tourist hotspot. Nestled in Tennessee's Smoky Mountains, it's a perfect mix of quite a relaxing venue with things to do and many outdoor excursions. One of the popular favorites was going on the Gatlinburg Mountain Coaster. However, the famous coaster was closed back in 2016 when a girl fell out of her front seat on the coaster and broke both her kneecaps, her wrist, as well as a couple of ribs while also suffering a concussion. It was said that the ride would open again in summer, but who knows if anyone will trust the unsafe and poorly regulated ride ever again. Derby Racer. The Boston roller coaster was incredibly popular and attracted people from all over New England, but not necessarily the smartest of the lot. In 1911, the owner of this roller coaster company was to deliver a lecture on roller coaster safety, and he thought it would be more fun to do it while he was on the coaster. So he stood up to give the lecture while the ride was running and was, of course, thrown to his untimely demise. After 2 more people had been thrown from the train in the following years, the surviving owners decided this ride was much more unsafe than it was worth and was torn down. Son of Beast. Built in Cincinnati, Ohio's infamous theme park Kings Island was built to completely shatter world records and finally become a marvel of physics as well as modern engineering. It also reportedly broke the world record for the highest speed of a wooden roller coaster, but it even had the highest drop of any wooden roller coaster ever made. This was also the first wooden coaster to ever feature an inversion and was known as the first and only wooden hypercoaster in existence. Still, so many minor injuries had also occurred that the park acknowledged the ride was simply a lawsuit waiting to happen. They eventually tore it down and didn't even offer to sell it to another park. Fujin Raijin 2. Located in Expoland, Osaka, Japan, this tall stand-up coaster was once one of the most popular. The park had been opened back in 1970 as an homage to the International Exposition, and it contained 40 rides and attractions. However amazing and popular the park once was, it closed for good back in 2007 because of a tragic incident that happened earlier that year. The roller coaster had derailed mid-ride due to a broken axle, which inspectors later learned had not been replaced in at least a decade. However, one unfortunate 19-year-old college student lost her life as her head was dragged along one of the rails of the ride for several hundred feet. After the spine-chilling incident exposed how low maintenance could cause further such terrifying problems, no one returned to the park, and it was hence forced to close.